The Galactic Council had always prided itself on order, protocol, and the careful maintenance of peace across countless star systems. For centuries, delegates from dozens of worlds had gathered in the great chamber of the Council, a towering structure of polished metals and luminous crystals, suspended above a central energy core that pulsed like a heartbeat. Every species that came to the Council brought its own customs, its own expectations of security. Most races insisted on heavily armed guards, the kind whose presence alone could intimidate even the boldest adversary. Weapons, energy shields, and deterrent drones were the norm. Yet when humans began sending their delegates, a curious anomaly became immediately apparent. The human diplomatic guards carried no arms at all. It started as a minor curiosity. Members of the Council whispered among themselves, noting the absence of conventional security measures around human representatives. "They have no weapons?" asked one of the crystalline Ambasarians, a being whose body refracted light into a spectrum of blinding brilliance. Surely this is reckless. The humans, however, simply smiled and nodded politely. Their guards stood at attention, dressed in dark formal uniforms, their posture unyielding, their eyes calm yet alert. Despite their lack of visible armaments, there was something in the way they carried themselves that made others uneasy. It was not a threat that could be measured by scans or analyzed by detectors. It was something else, something intangible. The Council convened a special session to discuss this peculiarity. Members of the various species argued and speculated. Some suggested that the humans had hidden weapons, or perhaps some form of undetectable energy shield. Others suspected a psychological trick, some kind of telepathic interference. Yet no tests or probes could find the slightest trace of hidden technology. When the next human delegation arrived, the Council decided to observe them more closely. The chamber filled with representatives from all corners of the galaxy, each clad in garments that reflected their homeworlds. While the humans entered calmly, the guards following in a precise, measured formation. One council member, a massive reptilian warlord from the outer systems, decided to challenge the humans directly. He approached the lead human guard and in a low, menacing tone asked, "Tell me, human, why do you present yourself unarmed in this hall? Do you not fear for your life among so many who would see you destroyed?" The human guard responded with a calm, unwavering voice. "Our purpose here is not to provoke fear. We carry no weapons because we do not intend to harm anyone, and yet we are always prepared to act if necessary." The warlord narrowed his eyes. "Prepared? Without arms? You speak nonsense. You cannot be prepared without weapons." The human guard tilted his head slightly. "Perhaps you will understand soon." The Council watched in anticipation, some of its members barely containing their skepticism, others bracing for some hidden demonstration of human trickery. The meeting began, and as negotiations progressed, tension in the chamber grew. At one point, a disagreement erupted between two alien delegations, their voices rising in anger, energy fields flickering around them in warning. Many species guards instinctively raised their weapons, ready to intervene at the first sign of violence. The human guard remained still, hands at his sides, posture perfect, eyes focused. The argument escalated, and suddenly, without warning, a member of the Council known for volatile temper, a gelatinous entity capable of extending tendrils, lunged toward the human delegation in a reckless act of intimidation. All eyes were on the human guard. For a moment there was silence, then the guard moved. The motion was not sudden but precise, a fluidity that was almost imperceptible. Within seconds, the attacking delegate was restrained, pinned with a grip that seemed to appear from nowhere. The gelatinous being struggled, but the human guard's hold was unyielding, unnervingly strong yet not harmful. There was no injury, no energy discharge, no weapons fired. The attack was neutralized completely. The Council members gasped. Observers from across the galaxy whispered, stunned. How could a human, unarmed, manage to control a being so much larger, stronger, and more alien than themselves? Another test followed, more subtle. One of the Council's telepathic envoys attempted to probe the human guard's mind, seeking to understand the secret. Yet the human's mind was a fortress, utterly unreadable, calm, and focused. The envoy recoiled, surprised and frustrated. Humans, it seemed, were not only physically formidable, but mentally resilient. Their focus and discipline far beyond anything the galaxy had ever encountered. Throughout the day, one demonstration after another quietly unfolded. Delegates who attempted intimidation found themselves met with human composure that was impenetrable. Attempts to provoke or manipulate through language or body language failed entirely. The humans reacted only when necessary, with precision and control, never overstepping or resorting to violence. By the end of the session, the council convened for private discussion. Words that had never been spoken in the hall before now filled the chambers. "I have never seen beings so disciplined," one member admitted. "They are not armed, yet they control the room with a presence no weapon could match." Another, a winged envoy from a distant system, nodded in agreement. "It is not force. It is mastery. They possess skills and self-control that make conventional weapons unnecessary." One particularly skeptical member, a silicon-based life form from a mining world, asked bluntly, "Are we to understand that these humans, unarmed, could fend off any of our most powerful security forces?" "Yes," a seasoned delegate replied. "It is not brute strength alone. They are alert, coordinated, and disciplined to a degree we cannot easily comprehend. They anticipate, react, and neutralize threats without harm. That is why they carry no arms." News of the human guard's capabilities spread rapidly. Reports from the council chambers described them as unparalleled in skill, able to disarm and restrain without the use of technology, to anticipate attacks before they happened, to maintain calm under pressure that would unravel even the most experienced of other species. Humans themselves remained humble. They did not boast or demonstrate unnecessarily. Their presence was quiet yet undeniable, a living proof that the greatest power lay not in weapons or brute force, but in mastery of self, sharpness of mind, and unity of purpose. In private, some council members discussed what they had witnessed. "We must reconsider our assumptions about human diplomacy," one said. "Their ability to maintain security without arms is not merely a tactic. It is a philosophy, an extension of their culture and mindset." Indeed, as the months passed, other species observed more closely. They saw humans train tirelessly, not just physically but mentally, honing awareness, reflexes, and communication. They learned to trust their instincts, to read subtle cues in posture, tone, and motion, to act decisively and with restraint. The human guards became an example, a standard by which all others were measured. It was not fear that commanded respect, but competence, clarity, and discipline. Even the most warlike species found themselves pausing before acts of aggression when human presence was involved. Years later, historians of the galaxy would reflect on this turning point. The story of human diplomatic guards became legend, taught in academies and recounted in halls of power. The lesson was simple yet profound. True strength does not always reside in weapons or firepower. It resides in skill, discipline, and understanding, the ability to act decisively yet judiciously, to protect without unnecessary violence, and to project confidence that commands respect without intimidation. The Galactic Council, once skeptical and dismissive of unarmed human guards, came to recognize their wisdom. In subsequent meetings, human delegates were never alone, yet their guards never carried a single weapon. It was unnecessary. The presence of a human, disciplined and composed, was sufficient to ensure peace. And so the galaxy learned a new form of power. Not one of destruction or fear, but of mastery, control, and unwavering resolve. The humans had shown that the most dangerous force was not the weapon in hand, but the mind and body honed to perfection, a combination no threat could easily overcome. Generations later, when alien species spoke of humans in council halls, it was with a mix of awe and respect. "They fight with nothing but themselves," they would say, "and yet nothing can defeat them." Even today, in the vast corridors of the council chambers, the lesson endures. A human guard, standing silent and unarmed, remains a symbol of discipline, a reminder that true strength comes not from the instruments we wield, but from the mastery of ourselves. And so, when the galaxy discovered why human diplomatic guards carry no arms to meetings, it learned that the most formidable weapon of all was a human mind, prepared, resolute, and undaunted. The legend continued to grow, whispered among species and across the stars. The humans had shown the Council something no technology could replicate, something no fleet could overpower. They had shown that self-mastery, courage, and precision could replace armaments entirely. The galaxy had underestimated them once. It would not make that mistake again. By the time the next century arrived, tales of the human guard's unarmed prowess had inspired new generations. Ambassadors from across the galaxy began to study their methods, seeking to emulate the remarkable discipline and intuition humans displayed. Military academies,